opportunities and challenges that we as a chartered accountants finally either face challenge or take it as an opportunity. Both. It again depends on ourselves. See, the first myth is that it will replace the professionals. It won't. We have been there. We do have inherent understanding, capability, or different set of knowledge till date that yes, we can create a value out of it. But it's really very important that we reskill ourselves and understand where the world is moving. It obviously poses a challenge in terms of our existence, in terms of understanding new things and then acting accordingly. CAs, either in practice or in industry or anything, everybody should embrace this and try looking more opportunities around it. Now the thing comes is that also people talks of whether, since the audit would be real time, the accounting can be done real time, the technology offers a proposition that everything would be real time, automated, auditing would be real time. So whether do we need auditing or not? So the basic principle for this is that we do have existing databases today. We do have traditional databases now. Traditional databases need auditing. This, I again started with this, that this is also a database. And since a traditional database also needs an auditing, this will also require an auditing. But the auditing or the authentication will not be of the data, will not be of the transaction. It will be of the system. Whether the system is functioning appropriately or not, we'll have to have an assurance before, say I'm an organization and I am a part of a network or I am a part of a blockchain network, then I as an organization have to first understand or have to first have a faith that yes, the network is functioning in the manner in which it is required to function. But since as an organization I do not have that visibility or that available capacity or capability to understand the entire network, we as a professional can offer them, bringing the best international practices on board and assuring them that yes, it fits your business logic, it fits for you, it is good for your company or it is not good for your company. And after it has entered into whether it is actually being performed in the manner or actually being the network is functioning in the manner in which it is required to function or not. So these are some kind of additional assurance services, or I'd say new assurance services arising out of this concept, which we'll have to embrace too. But very important for that is that first we'll have to understand what the technology is. If we do not understand what the technology is, then I think we'll be on a losing side. We'll miss the train.
No, one question I have. What do you think? How much time it takes to streamline the blockchain?
Streamline the blockchain in terms of implementing a blockchain?
Implementing, like in India.
See, as of now, when we are talking today, blockchain is still in a nascent stage, and no enterprise have done it at a full scale.
Okay.
I've already said they have all are trying to find out the benefit of it, and there are multiple hundreds of use cases going across the world which are at a proof of concept level.
Okay.
So implementing a blockchain now, the timelines and the timeline for streamlining is a bit of an unanswered question as of now, because it depends on what kind of network are we trying to create. If we want to create a restricted network between 10,000 people, it may take lesser amount of time. But if you are trying to create an open network which is accessible to 10 lakh people, it can take substantially more time than the restricted one. So there, the functionality of the network, the problem which the network is trying to solve, the promises which the network is giving, the participants in the network, the computing power of the network, all these factors are to be looked into, and then we can say what is the time for building a network and what is the time it would take for a streamlining of the entire network.
So what's your advice for we chartered accountants? Lots of other members are also watching. How we should move on to study it, or be in touch with the some this one developers or like that?
Okay, so what I believe is that the best part as of today that we can do is that invest our time in learning things, invest our time in understanding things, because by now 1.5 hours almost, or 1 hour 45 minutes, you would have realized that this is not a simple concept. This is not a concept which we are used to here in terms of our education and in terms of our professional capability or capacity. This is something entirely different from our perspectives. So we'll have to invest time into it. We'll have to understand. It is very difficult to digest some of the concepts related to it, that who is controlling the blockchain. When I say who is controlling the Bitcoin entire blockchain network, there is nobody who is controlling it. So this kind of concept again creates a disruption in our mind itself. Like, how can this be entirely functioning well if nobody is controlling it?
That question comes, who is the owner of blockchain?
Who is the owner?
Who is the control the blockchain?
Like,
yeah,
if
we all
something,
the all are the owners. Yes, yes.
if something goes wrong into the network, who will fix it?
Exactly.
Since I say there is no central authority, then if there is some problem, who will fix it? So these are all some of the questions which are to be answered through our own researches. That we'll have to digest the concept that this is an open source decentralized distributed network which is run by multiple number of participants, and it comes as a collision of various participants, and the entire network runs because of the collision. So there is no one single person running the entire network. So this in itself is a disruptive concept. So these are some of the things which we should learn as a professional. We should understand how does it function. Like open source softwares, I say, people build open source software. They're not remunerated for it. People build so much of a beautiful softwares and make it open source. They don't get paid for anything for it, but still they do it. This is not something which we can digest easily, because we think from a perspective of remunerating ourselves or remunerating in terms of how do we get remunerated. So there is a world beyond that also. People do for multiple other perquisites, multiple other I'd say multiple other choices or multiple other reasons कारण की वजह से लोग करते हैं, but that's it. So this is the time when I say what is for professionals, we should try and invest more and more time and keep on reading and learning the concepts and see how the world is moving.
Okay.
Talking of a few specific opportunities, like smart contract is one I said. Second, there are different types of blockchain, like permissionless, open, private, public, and all. So if it's, I won't get much into details of it because it's a pretty technical one. So if I say, if there is a permission blockchain, then we as a professionals can act as a central access granting administrator. If anybody wants to join the network, then we as an independent party in the entire network give requisite permissions to the network, to the person who wants to join the network. This can again come out as an avenue for we as a professionals, because we know what kind of roles and responsibilities are necessary for what kind of person in an organization. So this again reiterating the fact that 80% of the development or 80% of the time to be invested for developing or implementing a project would be a business side or would be of the professionals. So only that statement I think in itself is extremely powerful to understand how much of opportunity this offers to us. But the only challenge is that we'll have to understand it, we'll have to understand the proposition, the value proposition it gives. Only then we can bring something new to the table, only then we can bring something which is often good relevance for the entire group which is discussing this. Second, I already talked about like service auditors of the consortium, service auditors of the entire blockchain, whether the blockchain is performing in an appropriate functioning in an appropriate manner or not. So this is I already talked about. Last, how is the future looking like? Future seems to be a bit where are we moving towards? We are moving towards a transparent economy. We are moving towards a trustless systems. We are moving towards more open systems. So the more the open the things are, the more transparent the things are. From an opaque side, we are moving to for a transparent and an open side. But yes, these are more technologically advanced, and so but the challenges also evades the advancements. Like now, what would happen? There will be multiple blockchains into the network. So how will they correlate to each other? How will they talk to each other? Now, this is again a challenge in the entire ecosystem of like, how will we get into a network? Which network should we get into? How will various networks talk of? Currently, if 10 people or 1,000, 10,000 people are operating in a network, how can we scale up to millions? So these are all problems or implementation challenges which the concept or the technology is facing. But as I again already mentioned earlier, it's already a 10 to 11-year-old kid and still going to school. So let it flourish, let it understand. By the time it gets mature, we can understand what this kid looks like. what is the capabilities of the kit. We can understand the kit by the time it gets mature, and when it gets mature, we can reap the maximum benefits of this entire technology, of this entire concept.